Okay, so here we are, and I think I'm just going to have a moment where we talk about the cards, or we see what cards come out. Not necessarily, well, yeah, talk about them, see what happens, talk with them, hear from them, see what's going on with them. Uh, so I think we know by now that I speak to tarot readers and writers. I speak to mystics, muses, mediums. I situate myself as a coach of creativity as well as a coach of creative written expression. So I think we are going to, how about that? And I believe so much that we are going to be on this theme of dealing with rejection, and that many of us have decided to truly tap into what that means and how it hinders or helps. Not always is our sensitivities to rejection a bad thing, but when gone unchecked, that's when it becomes this horrific terror, internally and externally. So, the amazing part is that every day that we reawakening, we are given the opportunity, or we are um, allotted the opportunity to get up and do it again. Many folks that I speak to, waking up every morning feels like a soul prison system, a soul prison sentence. Because all lives are not created equal. All of them are not full of bliss and shot callers and money makers and idea generators. They are not. And I know it gets a little tricky when trying to determine whose fault that really is, if there is fault to be placed. And I say that right now because I am toggling between the notions that says your soul signed up for this. I believe I may mention, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I may mention through my writing or through my video logging about. I used to work for a dentist, and I remember one time in a conversation he told me much about how I signed up to come here, in addition to me signing up for all the things that ever happened to me throughout my life. And it immediately upset me because my 6-year old self wanted to scream at him and say, I signed up for the terror that met me in the bathroom and decided to do what he wanted to do. I signed up for that. But the more and more I mature in this lifetime, I see where that trauma transmuted into a peculiar point of view that is even more so valuable now that the hurt no longer reside there. I don't think I'm ever going to forget it. So the forgive and forget stuff, I don't really sign on to that because there's some things that I wish I could forget and it does not go away. Some things I wish I could remember and they never seem to conjure back up. So I can't speak on that realm. That's a little tricky on what stays in mind and what leaves. But the interesting part is the running theme of us taking stock. Interesting. Taking stock in our physical nurture and nature results, the results of our physicality, the results of the physical environments and the impressions left upon. I understand the trendy talk. I understand the mainstream talk, and never does anyone address how to deal with the deep impressions left on the soul. It amazes me, and I've spoken about this before. Folks that say, just let it go. I'm waiting for somebody to give instructions on how do you actually do that? How do you actually let go of something that has an emotional grip on you? Because anything that I've witnessed or gone through in my life, it almost felt like it had to wear off. No matter how much I mentally or emotionally tended to it, it stopped being tender when it felt like it was no longer wanted to be tender. There was nothing that I could have done to slow it up or speed it up. And interestingly enough, those that we are around, whether they are reciprocal in our healing or supportive in our practices or show up more in theory than they do in practice, however it goes, I believe that there's a significant amount of healing in the sharing of one's story or the sharing of one's lessons or one's hindsighted reflections, one's contemplations, one's evolutions or growing, or even the process by which they've healed and how they went about doing that. What were the intricate details that allowed them to achieve? And that does not mean that does not mean that the way they did it is actually the way you need to do it. What you're doing is gathering information for your own journey, for your own journey into self discovery and self healing. That's how it gets done. The way I did it is not necessarily going to be the way you do it, but with you being in information gathering mode, you will pull from what it is I share, that which resonates, and begin to contemplate so that you may implement. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I think that's our message for today. See real quick if there's anything else that wants to pop out. Oh, look at there. So I am honestly going to close this with the true delight to says that your non-physical as well as your physical independence reside in look at that, in your ability to face your shadows and to understand that there are moments where the not so good may have a chance to be transmuted into it's all right, and that there is truly a journey that the journey to independence will always in, incorporate your trauma, your terror, your rejections, your feelings of inadequacy. All of those things are worth something when you're on this journey. When you on the journey of self-discovery, you cannot omit or dismiss your traumas, your terrors, your shortcomings, your ailments. And as I promised, we're going to continue to tap into this thing that I call the auction block mentality. That thing that says that you got to show up always in pristine condition. Because what that does is make those that are not particularly there hide away from themselves and the people who love them. Now, I don't necessarily mean the people who will cherish them, because something tells me that's all energetically twined up as well. But those that will at least be able to acknowledge the flaws makes me believe that that is the brink of the journey. So, happy traveling and welcome to the Lionsgate 2022. It's nice to see you here.